Hello, my name is Sherry Furr and I'm broadcasting to you on December 14, 2012 from Freedom, Pennsylvania. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a troubling trend that is taking place in our country. This trend revolves around the idea that the percentage of American children living in families with incomes below the poverty line increase continuously. Nearly 1 in 5 children are poor today. The specific field-based activity that I'm going to be participating in will help me delve deeper into this trend and will be an examination of issues with educating children with poverty. I will be examining its impact on assisting students from poverty to overcome academic barriers and its possibilities for an online school. I will be finishing up by reflecting on how this activity may be helpful to me as a classroom teacher so that I might treat students equally and respect their cultural and family differences. Children who live in poverty face numerous obstacles to healthy physical, emotional, and intellectual development. One author specifically examined poverty's effect on childhood academic achievement. Catherine Jones states that the damaging effects of poverty on childhood have been well documented. Numerous studies have shown childhood poverty to be highly correlated with poor performance in academics, lower IQ scores, and an increased risk of dropping out of school. Poverty also affects the level of education children attain in their math and reading capabilities. One study even found that the IQ scores of children from disadvantaged socioeconomic backgrounds were 25 points lower than their counterparts from privileged families. Additionally, lower socioeconomic status seems to be associated with a lower rate of attendance and fewer years of schools completed. Poverty's effect on childhood academic achievement varies in relationship to age and length of time in poverty, parents' occupation and source of income, parents' educational attainment, cognitive stimulation, physical environment, neighbors' influence, physical well-being, and parenting style. Poverty begins to affect the academic achievement of children in infancy. It has its greatest effect on the mental development of the child. After early childhood, socioeconomic status plays less and less of a part in the academic achievement of poor children. However, reports show that the longer children live in poverty, the lower their level of academic achievement. Considering the fact that most homes that experience poverty will suffer from it again, and that poverty will affect over 1/3 of Americans during their childhood, it comes as no surprise that the culprit in the lower academic achievement of America's youth is poverty. And author Eric Jensen goes over some of the risk factors of students being raised in poverty. The first one is emotional and social challenges. Children tend to face emotional and social instability when growing up in poverty. It is vitally important for students to be cared for properly and nurtured when they are under the age of 3. The next one is acute and chronic stressors. These can leave a devastating impact on their lives. Acute stress is severe stress resulting from exposure to such trauma as abuse or violence. Chronic stressors are high stress sustained over time. Both can affect the overall health of the child. Next is cognitive lags. There is a strong correlation between socioeconomic status and cognitive ability and performance for students living in poverty. Oftentimes, students are behind, and a lot of times this is caused from lack of parental support and involvement at home. Students living in poverty don't always experience a loving and caring home environment. They need to be raised in safe, predictable, and stable environments in order to feel important and valued. And last is health and safety issues. Jones states that the physical well-being of children from a low socioeconomic background also serves as a disturbance when pursuing education. Things such as malnutrition, disease, and injuries divert children's attention from schoolwork. Two very common health conditions experienced by poverty-stricken children are anemia and lead poisoning. Other health problems such as vision and hearing troubles and learning disabilities act as a direct hindrance to academic achievement in poor children. These health concerns are prevalent among poor children because their families often lack the money to afford health care, medications, nutritious food, and safe living environments, which lower the chances of injury. I interviewed my field-based instructor, Lori Rona, about her thoughts and experiences on educating and working with students of poverty. We went over the following questions. Number 1, do you feel that a child's education is affected by their socioeconomic status, especially students who are experiencing living in poverty? Lori stated, yes, a student's socioeconomic background and family structure affect not only their classroom experiences in, but also the level of support that the students receive at home. Students from poverty have fewer resources, larger class sizes, less experienced teachers, and often live in violence and have chronic stressors that affect their behaviors and their brains. Number 2, what strategies would you use in an online environment to help students achieve that come from poverty? Lori stated that, in her opinion, the online environment is naturally less threatening for students. I use an online reading program that adapts to fit the unique needs of each student. I also find that educational learning games and adaptive software such as Let's Go Learning Math Edge keep students engaged. Number 3, as an educator, is it essential to learn new strategies in order to treat students equally and respect their cultural and family differences when dealing with diversity in the classroom? Lori believes yes. Keeping abreast of new strategies is important. Teachers need to understand that chronic stressors can be the cause of students' hyper and hypo-responsive behaviors in the classroom. Understanding can prevent teachers from making inaccurate presumptions and/or having unrealistic expectations. In turn, it can lead teachers to more proactive and effective approaches. The last question we went over was, what are effective methods to incorporate these ideas into an online learning setting? Lori stated, one strategy is to treat all students with the kindness they deserve and equally. Working in an online setting, it is still very important to set high standards for all students, no matter their background. All students can achieve with the right amount of support and expectation so that they believe in themselves. There are 3 goals that I would like to set for myself as an educator in order to improve strategies to help not only students living in poverty, but all students with cultural and socioeconomic differences. The first goal that I would set for myself as a result of this field-based activity would be to devise a way to find out more about each individual student that I am teaching, especially if it is in an online learning environment. I would develop a project very similar to the digital story that we were required to do for the beginning of this Franciscan University Master's program. This will allow me to get a better idea of the cultural differences of my students. Another goal that I would set for myself would be to highly recommend the use of the Title I tutoring programs that are focused on economically disadvantaged students. Or another idea would be to provide mentoring programs to students to make them feel valued and important. This would help them to feel more confident and offer more support so that they can be more successful to achieve academic success. The final goal that I would like to set for myself as a result of this field-based activity is to treat all students with the kindness they deserve. Rather than simply telling students how to act appropriately, I will model appropriate classroom behaviors for them and refrain from universally reprimanding students for not naturally behaving in a way that I would expect based on my own upbringing and personal experiences. Negative emotions such as anxiety, fear, and anger disrupt memory, thinking, and learning, while positive emotions and humor can lead to improvements in the learning process. I will make sure that my classroom is viewed as positive and non-threatening environment for all students. I would like to thank my field-based instructor, Laurie Rona, for all of her help on this field-based activity and all of the others that have helped me throughout this course of School and Society. The references that I used for this project will be found on my final slide. Once again, I'm Sherry Furr, and I hope you enjoyed this screencast production. Thank you.